So this month we're going to be talking about friend slop as a genre.
Yay, the best slop.
And this genre is, if you want to even call it a genre, is relatively new. You could say that the progenitors of this would be like Among Us and I guess around the pandemic time was when these started blowing up real big. And the social deduction games, like Among Us, were some of the first. And then there was Lethal Company and Repo and Peak and all of the ones that are blowing up currently right now.
Would Fanstop be considered as cooperative games, most likely?
Exclusively, yes. So when we say friend slop, we're talking co-op, low player count, usually between 1 and 4 players. Low barrier of entry. All of these games are super cheap. I don't think any of them are over $10. So if you want all 4 of your friends to have one, it just costs you all $40, as opposed to playing like Call of Duty or something, which is like $80 a piece or whatever. Unless you're doing like the battle royale mode. What's the Warzone? That's free to play, right?
On Call of Duty.
But and also it's like the friend slop games are like low skill level, so you don't get sweaty tryhards in here. There's rarely even a set goal or win condition for them.
Well, Peak does have a goal.
I mean, Peak does have a goal at the peak of the mountain, but
Among Us.
stuff like Repo and Lethal Company, you are just collecting junk just to see how much valuables you can walk out with. There's also one content warning. Was another one that just kind of shadow dropped. It was like free for like the first weekend it came out.
Coco.
Content warning.
Oh, no, content warning. Okay.
Yeah, it's like 4 people in there. They're streamers, and you have camcorders, and you record clips to upload to their fake YouTube. But it also like saves real clips to your computer, so you can upload it to the real YouTube. Anyways, it was actually pretty good. But yeah, we're talking about that right now, and just kind of quickly how to set something like this up in Unity. Another of the big pillars for these friend slop type games is voice chat and the proximity voice chat and the shenanigans that you can get up to with that. And all of that is kind of built in to Unity as well. Unity Vivebox is their voice chat system, and it's super simple to get set up. The free tier is like free up to like 50,000 users, which is more than most indie games will ever see. So you don't have to worry about any surprise bills that way. So what we have here mainly is this is the Cinti Sci-Fi City pack. And I just ended up dropping some spawn points, and we'll spawn some characters here with using Unity netcode for game objects. This project is built using the multiplayer template, which you can find in the hub. Here. No, you have to make a new one. So when you make a new project, link here, you have a number of templates that you can start with. These are running here. And there's a couple of multiplayer ones. There's some for VR and XR. There's this multiplayer FPS template. This is using Unity dots and netcode for entities. What we're using is the multiplayer third-person gameplay here. And when you first install it, you just download the template, and then you create a project out of that. You can't add a template to an already existing project, which is unfortunate, but this comes with a lot of built-in game modders and components that will help you quickly spin up some multiplayer stuff. This is also using the close that. That's just how you create a new project. Already done that. This is also using the building blocks, which are a set of UI widgets for multiplayer and the Unity game services stuff. So, building blocks. Here you download it from the asset store. It used to be its own package, but they ended up throwing it on the asset store for reasons, I guess. And there's actually a lot of these building blocks. This one here is for creating sessions. There are building blocks for publish date. Here we go. Oh crap, there's building. That's new. Okay. I need to download this one. So there is a building block for Vivox, which is interesting. I really could have used that like an hour ago. We've got, this is also what I'm using here for the characters, are these stylized character packs, which is pretty new-ish. So each of these characters have their own rigs. They're all fully animated, and we'll show how to look that up. The other building blocks, there's building blocks for matchmaking, leaderboards, player authentication, and I think that's leaderboards and achievements. And these are all built using a UI toolkit, which are really cool starting spots for you. And these are some of the other assets that I'm using in this one, which is going to be why I can't actually throw this up on like GitHub at the moment. I might strip all this stuff out to do that if y'all want. But this is the sci-fi city pack, Cyber City. I forget which actual demo city this was, but anyways. So what we are using here is, if you can see here, this is one of the building blocks that it comes with, and it's just a quick join button. You'll click this, it will look to find a existing session, or it will create one if one is not available. We might be able to do multiplayer play mode to test real quick. Maybe. We'll see. So in our man, all right, so this is our network manager. This is just the standard netcode for game objects game manager. We're just using client server topology We're using the Unity transport. This is all stock standard. We've got a multiplayer prefab here that's going to spawn automatically as soon as we connect to our session. And all of that is standard. The network manager has to be on the root object, and it also can't have its own game network object on it. So all of the other managers I've put on here are just regular game objects. This one, this BB game manager, this is the building block. This is part of the multiplayer template. So this just has a session settings. This is just for creating your session. I probably should have added the session UI here. This is like a third-person shooter type game manager. So there's spawn points, there's respawns, there is respawn sound effects. There's also this director, which is part of the template as well. This handles all of your sound effects and whatnot. And I also have a cinema machine for the player camera. So our player camera is going to just be in the scene here. And once the player spawns in, they're going to grab this main camera and use it as their own. So when you're doing multiplayer stuff, you want to have just one camera in the scene. Sometimes you'll want to put the camera on your actual player prefab. You really don't want to do that because when multiple players start spawning in, you'll have multiple cameras. And Unity only will show the last camera that was instantiated as your main camera. So just to keep things a bit simpler so you're not disabling and enabling components on your player, I just leave all that stuff outside of the player. We have the sound game object. This is used for footsteps, I believe, from the template. And I also have the Vivox manager. So this one probably will get replaced by that building blocks that I'll probably download tonight. But this will just sign in to the Vivox system after we have authenticated through our sessions, which is in the game manager here. So these two components, the services and initialization and the player authentication, this will just automatically initialize the game services for you. And there are a couple of events you can tie into as well. So here in our, that is the wrong event. Here in our initialize, we will initialize Vivox here. Initialize, okay. And for our player authentication, we're going to sign in anonymously. Here, I would use the player authentication building blocks, so you could create your own player account and all that stuff. But this just does it all for you. And it will grab a player name or generate one for you if you don't have one. And then here, after it's signed in, it will also sign in to Vivox here. And there's also an event for signing out. All right, the other one I have here is the Rigid Body Contact Event Manager. This is for dealing with physics online. Syncing physics is actually a crazy hard problem. And what this will do is this will send contact information to the server or the host in order for the host to update all the physics on everything. All right, we can check this out real quick. I don't know if this will actually connect through the school network or not. I think last time I tried this, there were issues. Let's find out. Yeah, okay. All right, so this scene was not exactly meant to be running around in, um, but it does work, and Firebox is throwing a fit, but that's fine. I added a little ball here. I don't even know what that is. It kind of works. Man, my laptop does not like this. Okay. So I have this that it can swap between first person mode and third person mode here. And I think it just disconnected me for some reason. But it worked for about 30 seconds. So also, when I have it, when you spawn in, you're a different animal character. Because I didn't feel like doing a character select screen. Maybe this time with a cat. The walk cycles kind of suck.
Mm-hmm.
There is a run, but every time I try to run, I end up falling through the world, and I'm not sure. It's also just like really fast, sped up. So, but it does work. Let's see. Will this work? Maybe. Oh, I think it disconnected me.
Yeah, we just disconnected. Even the previous. Oh, maybe not. Well,
I don't know. It says it despawned me. Okay. Anyways, it does kind of work, but
yeah.
and Firebox is totally tripping out right now. liking that. But I will actually show some of that code here. All my scripts. Let's look at look a bit at the selector here. Okay. So basically, for this character selector, we are grabbing our animal prefabs, which are just the dudes that are in that character pack that we downloaded from the asset store. And we can see it here. This core player manager, these are part of the multiplayer template. This is where you can add different abilities for your character. We looked at this a little bit when we went over this template a while back, but these are different add-ons that you can do for, like, say, double jumping, for a jetpack add-on, dash ability, for a nameplate, which I probably should have added on here. And this is also hooking up all of your inputs. This system runs off of they call it the scriptable object architecture. What's the P? Platform, I guess, SOAP. And so all of your events are going to be scriptable objects here. And so there's a event for jumping, for looking, for shooting. Every action has a event to it, and each event is just a scriptable object with a list of listeners, and you can fire those listeners, and you register your events in your actual scripts for when you want to listen for when those happen. So we scroll down a bit past our abilities. Here's our selector. So here we have our 5 characters in the prefab here. And this is what we are choosing from when we spawn in. I have a network variable for the actual selected animal. This has an owner authority to it. So the players will select their own character and then broadcast that out when they spawn in. Same for their player name is also going to be a network variable. This is going to be retrieved from the authentication system. So you could here, the authentication service .instance.playername. You can change this as well at any time. So here in on network spawn, we are just checking if we are the owner, and if we are choosing a random animal prefab and assigning our name. And then if we're not the owner, those two variables have already been set. So we are just going to grab that index, then pass it into our spawn animal, which is just going to be instantiating that prefab under our multiplayer prefab here. The other thing you needed to do is set the animator. So there is a network animator that syncs your animations to the other players, and that has to be set after the prefab has been instantiated and set up. After the animator gets set up, we're grabbing our cameras and setting our look targets. We are going to be scaling the head bone down to 0, so you're not looking from inside of the character's head while you're in first person mode. Then when you hit control, it will re-enlarge the character head and then pan the camera back a certain amount. And there's the rest of that. Okay, cool. And that's really it for the actual characters themselves. Most of these friend slop type games don't have a whole lot of character abilities. There are items that you can pick up and use for the most part. But as far as like the characters themselves, it's basically just running and jumping, sometimes climbing in peak. For Vivox, we can take a look at that. I think something in the network is blocking voice chat here. Here we go, voice. Here. For Vivox, it's pretty simple. It's your standard. You have to initialize the service. Then you log in. Your login options gives you a display name. So Vivox handles text chat as well as voice chat. So if you wanted to have chat rooms and chat like MMO style chats on screen, you can do that as well. It also has text to speech built in. So if you wanted to do that, you can. After you log in, you join a channel. There's different channels you can join. This is a 3D channel, so this will be your proximity chat. There's also, you can join text chat. You can join multiple channels, basically. So you could have a channel just for your party, and then a channel for like a global channel if you want. You can do that as well pretty easily. But here for our 3D properties, you just set those up real quickly. Your audible distance, the conversational distance, the intensity by distance is kind of your fall off rate, the audio fade model, and the fade model here is linear by distance. There's a couple of other ones. There's exponential by distance, and I think you could just write your own if you really wanted to. And then you pick a channel to join, and it's just a string, so any string will do. What I'm doing here is we are joining the channel by our session ID. So when we join, everyone is going to be in the same session. Then we just pass in join positional channel async. So we give it our name of our channel, the capabilities. So this is going to be text and audio. You can have audio only or text only if you want. And then our channel properties. To actually move your player in the 3D audio space, we have to set the 3D position. So it is not automatically tracking your position. So we have to tell the service where we are located. And then it will handle all of the 3D spatial processing, the drop off, and all of that. So if you are beyond that conversational distance limit, you won't even hear the other players. So that will also save on bandwidth and whatnot. And here you have to do this in update. Probably don't want to do this every update tick because that's 60 times a second on average. So in the docs, they recommend do it every 0.3 seconds. And it's just a basic little timer to do that. And you just give it your player object, which I'm grabbing it from the network manager. And then we give it the name of our chat room, which is the session ID. Here in send message, this is just how you send a text message if you so choose to. There's also various events that you can subscribe to. Do I have any of that set up? I don't think I do. Oh no, that's in the other here. So you can get here. So these are events for when a person is added and removed from a channel. I just ripped all this from the docs, so I haven't actually customized it yet. But this is how you can show a list of everyone in the voice channel, and you can have a icon or something happen when they speak, so you can tell who is actually talking if you want to do it that way. This would be good for lobbies. The repo lobby is actually pretty good in how that works. So here we have this is just joining and unjoining here. So this will just add a roster item, which we don't have currently set up, but it is basically just a kind of a portrait image, a speaking image,